Still no Camille. I will ping Camille here quickly. Okay, so yeah, lots of stuff going on with Contribute. There's a Contribute Slack channel, and there is this the handbook page. So read on, stay up to date with what's going on. It changes pretty frequently. The team day, we still need to get some feedback on that, on what folks want to do. I linked over to what the distribution team is talking about. I heard from Rachel that their team is just gonna kind of hike around the city, and they don't have a real strict agenda with what they're doing. So any ideas are open. We get to pick what we want to do for team day. And actually, team day doesn't really start until 10:30. Let me find the schedule. I can link it here so y'all can see. There's some morning events on the team day.
I mean, there were a couple good ideas already, right? Should we just all vote on it? And once we have the vote, we just try to do the best one.
Yeah, we need to figure it out by end of day tomorrow, so I can submit any requests by the 20th.
Yeah, because some of these things require booking, right? I mean, there was the escape room that you need to book. I know in Berlin they're very popular, so sometimes you need to book even months ahead of time. I don't know how it is in Prague.
No, the two most popular ones have plenty of openings on the team day. I mean, we're still
cool. Yeah.
What, 6 weeks out, 5 weeks out, so there were plenty of openings.
Not to bias anyone, but if you have never done an escape room, it's really fun.
They are fun, yes. So our team day will start around 10:30, and then we'll have the team dinner. The team dinner location is already picked because there's 1,000 of us or so, however many, descending on Prague. The Contribute coordinators have set aside times and places for dinners so that there weren't a bunch of last minute reservations swamping these restaurants. So the engineering teams have all been assigned times and places for their dinners, and it's in the more details will emerge soon. I don't think they've released what restaurants or where we're supposed to be meeting yet. So, all right, but yeah, go back to the issue that I have linked here. If you have any other ideas outside of what's been suggested, please feel free to add them. And if we have a couple that are close, like if we have a clear winner, then I'll just book it. If we have a couple that are pretty close, then we can have a runoff.
Or we can combine things. I mean, like some of the escape rooms I've done in the past, because they tend to vary in difficulty, like just assuming we would do one, it could happen that we're done with it in an hour anyway. So we do it. So if the team day starts at 10:30, then, you know, like it will still be plenty of time to do it.
Yeah, so we could pair it up with something else for sure. So, yep. Let's see, we had our IACV, so I think everybody here has done it before, but you have till the end of the month to expense an evangelism dinner. And last update, I have an interview for a memory team product manager later today. And I know there's at least one other candidate in the pipeline, so starting to make some progress there. Any questions on updates? That is no. Work items, Matthias?
Yeah, so this came up in an MR. Oh yeah, right. So this came up in the first merge request. Merge request we sent for bulk inserts. Kind of that was the preparation thing, and someone pointed out. I think during the maintainer review, it was pointed out. Oh, there is this new relation that we have, which might benefit from this, and neither George from Import Group nor I knew anything about it. I think it's a pretty recent addition. So for now, just to keep that MR moving, we created a follow-up ticket for this because it's also not even considered right now in the import-export schema file that we use. So right now, I don't even know what it is. So it's called a merge request context commit and context diff. So I think someone should probably spend some time actually, first of all, looking into should this be part of import export, because currently it's just ignored. I don't know what that means, but yeah, so either our team or the import group, managed group should probably look at that.
Okay.
Even if it's just like a first super quick assessment, you know, because maybe it's not important, then I just don't know right now.
Yeah. If it's some long-term research, it's probably better suited for import team, but I will look into it. All right. And then this is the dashboard issue. This is the one we were just talking about earlier where Harris assigned it. It's got a milestone. He added the milestone today and it's on their team. So
I would love, yeah. So I think we should at least sync with them about it, because I think our angle is honestly, or maybe it's actually two dashboards. I don't know. I think there's a number of things we could track that would be super useful, and some are maybe more like, you know, product-y metrics, or more like, yeah, like metrics that are maybe more about like kind of how well the product performs in general. But then there's other metrics that are maybe more interesting just for our team. And we need to see like where we would even pull them, but like stuff like I'm thinking would be awesome to have something like, here's like the number, like a breakdown of how big was the project that we imported, and it took that much time, that much memory, and so forth, and then kind of plot that over time as a time series. I assume it would be something that we would do in Prometheus and Grafana, but maybe I'm jumping to conclusions here. There was some discussion about this somewhere else, because we do have some like data points that we export into logs, so you can see them in Kibana. And Kibana has a feature as well where you can create visualizations. And I only I spent like 20 minutes on this or so, and it felt a bit restrictive. So I think I would probably lean towards doing that in Prometheus. But yeah, like it would be good to figure that out.
all right. Yeah, so we'll see what his feedback is and find a time to sync up on these. Maybe, I don't know team members' time zones. If they're mostly in Europe, maybe we can just piggyback off the next office hours. We'll see what Harris has to say on this one. And Chinyu updated his issues.
Sorry, just super quick. I think we skipped one. I just wanted to bring that up again because it's coming up quite a bit lately. It's in the new work items. And it's yeah. So it's not new, but I updated it today because we keep having problems with this. And there's been like 2 incidents already where this stuff broke. And so someone needs to work on this. I think it's pretty important because this led to outages. So I think it should be a P1 probably. And I don't know if we need to do all of these things, but some we should probably do. Some of these action items come from the, sorry, is it RCA? No, what is it called? The root cause analysis.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I assume these are typically pretty high priority, right? Because they are things that led to outages.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a bit, yeah. So again, the question is, you know, it's not like strictly our team. It all started with the Puma work, right? Because we went into this only really looking at this from a Puma angle, but then it kind of spiraled a bit out of control because it's just really more than that. And it's like such a impactful change to mess with, well, our database connection pool, because that's affected by, there's like so many variables involved. And yeah, so we didn't go into this with enough foresight, and we broke a bunch of stuff. And it's been a couple of weeks now where this came up again several times.
And you think this is a P1 because of the outages it's caused?
I mean, that sounds pretty serious, right? I mean, there were, yeah, well, okay. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean,
I would
it was,
agree, if we're having outages, I would vote that we should probably treat this as a P1.
Yeah, so these were not like full site outages where like nothing, you know, it's not like GitLab was falling over entirely, but there were components of GitLab that actually stopped working properly, or that had very high error rates, that were below the key metrics that we track, and it was the last issue that I linked for. There was a RCA for this. It was related to the Sidekiq feed, actually, where there was particular workers that kept falling over because they were actually scaled too low because they were configured. This was kind of like, yeah, we were kind of shooting ourselves in the foot here because they just, in a sentence, they were basically configured to run on a single thread. And by default, if you don't scale the pool manually, I think the default value is 0 or 1. So our scaling logic took the maximum of this, which is 1, which is not enough to run these things reliably. So it's like kind of like silly little things that we didn't think about enough, or assumptions that we made of cases that would not happen, but clearly they are happening. And yeah, we don't detect this currently, and it took them a lot of time. Like the engineers, SREs, they spend hours like trying to even figure out what was going on. You know, we also need to account for all that time spent debugging these issues.
Seems like you have the most context on this. Maybe you and Camille. Sorry, the cat's screaming at me. Maybe we should look at what you have assigned for 12.9 and prioritize this over it, figure out what the trade-offs are.
No, definitely. I mean, the only thing I'm working on right now is bulk inserts anyway. So I can also, should I get stuck with that, I can have a look at this.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, we did skip all over the place here. So so IndyJSON, sounds like y'all had a good discussion last night, middle of your day. And we have a breakdown here. Is this in this milestone? Nope. Does this work feel pretty big? Does it feel like it's gonna spill over beyond 12.9 for IndyJSON in general? Because if it is, then we need to like get the import team involved in this a little more heavily.
No, it will definitely spill over. But so the two main areas, so we thought there's probably 2 work tracks. One is really focusing on kind of IndyJSON per se, and there's already an OpenMR, which is pretty far. That implementation is actually more than a POC. We think it's like Camille did a really great job there. There's just like a couple of things. It's not ready to be shipped tomorrow, maybe. But so this whole first work track would make sure that this is something that's actually mergeable, and we can put that in front of, well, not in front of users maybe, but like get that into production, and in a way that is compatible with what we currently have. But then there's this whole separate work stream under this item 2, which is a bit more forward looking, because we need to then, so if we actually want to put this in front of users, we need to think a little bit about compatibility issues with, you know, older exports or older versions of GitLab and so forth. And that we're not gonna make it.
Right.
I'm not even convinced the first one we're gonna make, because there's a couple of prepping steps that we need to sync with the import team on as well.
Yeah.
Because there's one refactor that's going to shuffle around a lot of stuff. At least that one we need to make sure that we don't kind of step over each other's work. Yeah.
I'll figure out how to sync up with Liam and figure out how we can balance this work and have a smooth transition over to them. So I'll get back to you on that one. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, he's still getting feedback on the rugged issues. What is this one? This one he picked up late in the milestone, so I'll get moved forward. Let's see, release post items. So Josh, I saw your MR for that. It's taken from our import export improvement summary that I posted on that issue, and that'll be the bulk of our release post items for this release. Any questions on that one? Actually,
That look good to you?
yeah. It. I mean, a lot of it was the content that was already on the issue, right? So, sorry, I want to look at the milestone board. This is the wrong one. So is there anything in 12.8 that we need to remove? So these, yeah, carry Chinese over since they're not going to close out. A lot of the rest of these are Camille's. So Camille,
I didn't do the definition. I started this MR of definition of DOM about this aspect, but I didn't merge it yet. I hope that I'm gonna finish that this week and get it merged and discussion going. This one, I merged some other changes related to Puma, and I need to look exactly what is the state of that, but I likely gonna close this issue as resolved as of now. This is at least my perception right now. That likely we can close this issue, but I need to exactly look what was the state of that stuff. So please don't move it yet. Scraping of metrics. We did some safeguard with jar for Puma. But like we didn't resolve that issue. It's rather like we implemented another measure that prevents this from happening, but I don't consider this like to be resolved. It still seems like to be related to the scraping of metrics, that this is what is causing the problem. But I'm now start to think that there is no easy solution for that, except like rewriting all of that Prometheus library to use the upstream and changing the backend of that. So the only thing that I'm really like doing related to this issue is like ensuring that it's detectable and ensuring that if it happens, it doesn't cause any other side effects. And at least I think we achieved that now, but the root cause of this issue is not yet resolved. So this leave it for now, like in this 12.8, I need to figure out exactly if this should spin up a new issue and this should be closed, or this should be moved and reassigned to someone else. I'm gonna summarize exactly what we did so far on this issue.
Okay. Matthias?
Yeah, that's definitely gonna slip, unfortunately, because I'm still looking into problems with that, and it hasn't even seen a review.
Camille, the update Puma patches upstream. Sorry.
Like we are still running on that, so like we got some data, but I didn't have time like to push that upstream because I was basically like for the most of the month waiting for more data points, and it did only happen in the last week before my holiday, so it was not done.
Okay, so carried over.
Yes, like it's not gonna happen. No.
All right.
The same for the rollout of the atomic processing, unfortunately.
Doesn't look like anybody did this one. Do we need to leave this open?
I have no idea who should be doing that. I believe Grant mentioned that he would update it. It seems it didn't happen.
Don't we have another issue where we update the documentation in Omnibus? So is that a duplicate of this one?
Partially. I think like that issue is much smaller change, which is like only updating the default settings to what we consider today like the best. And define best value, it's more like the investigation to understand if there is something better that we should do. So I think that like this really is like updating exactly what the ground set is, just the line that changed because code the change to change the default to form. Please assign that to me. I'm gonna comment exactly on the state of how to resolve that confusion between this and this other one.
Let's see, feature flag.
Yes, like we did not enable that yet. I hope that I'm gonna push that soon with Fabio.
Okay. This one's done, correct?
This was not measured yet because the changes of input task that is measuring wasn't merged on staging last week. So I guess it's merged now, but I didn't check. Matthias, I have access to staging, so we can run it.
Yeah. I think it's there now. I think it should be there.
So maybe we can run it tomorrow.
I can double. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I can. Yeah, ping me about.
So it can be done.
Okay, I'll move that one over. And then let's see, follow up. This one's yours, Matthias. Yeah, Matthias.
Oh yeah. This is just to remove the feature flag for dedupping, which is enabled now. I would prefer honestly to just like leave the feature flag in place for a while, even though it's enabled, and give it some more time, because I'm not totally sure how often like this code path even triggers, right? Because it's just so specific to very large imports, and I'm not sure. Like it's a bit difficult to say when that is considered safe to do. On the other hand, like, you know what, I'm actually thinking, Camille, what do you think about this? Because once we do the ND-JSON changes, this is all gonna go away anyway, right? Because there is, I think even in the POC you sent, there's already, it integrates the dedupping in a different way. Would it make maybe more sense to say that once we flip over to ND-JSON, we do that as well, or I don't know.
I don't see like this being used in ND-JSON world.
No, definitely not. Like not specifically, but
it only makes sense, some limited sense to this big JSON file, but not in the JSON.
Yeah. No, sure. No, that's what I meant actually, because so once we move to ND-JSON, this is all kind of pointless anyway.
Yeah, so like we don't need dedup then. I think.
Okay, just leave it. Move it to the next milestone, and I would prefer to give it another week at least, with the feature flag intact. And if let's say if we then don't have any reports, because it's tough for me, I can't actively like say this is working well or not because we have zero data on it. Yeah. So and yeah, then I can then drop that flag.
Okay. Thank you. So we just have the two Camille asked us to leave. We have 5 minutes. Does anybody have any questions about what they're doing for 12.9? Any concerns? Anybody feel overloaded?
I want us to have another sync meeting where we include PMs from our team, which is Joshua, and from the manage import, where we discuss the track number 2. I hope that we figure out something fairly simple and iterative, to solve that. I'm maybe
Sorry, what was the topic, Camille?
I would like us to continue talking about the ND-JSON and the second track, which is defining how we can avoid supporting legacy format. in the most simple, boring, iterative way. I want to push on like figuring out that maybe it's not gonna be super perfect, but maybe with 13.0 that's gonna happen in 3 releases from now, we could remove a lot of legacy code from the import export.
Yeah, it would basically make our life a lot easier.
Which is basically my main goal of introducing ND-JSON and making this consistent.
Okay. Yeah, I will find some time, sync up with Liam, and I'll just invite everybody for the team here so we make sure that we have all the topics covered and we can actually start those conversations. So I'll see if I can find some time later this week.
Yes, so like we are probably on very tight timeline given 12.9 because I'm really hoping that for us to finish that in 12.9 and make decision and make the smallest possible decision that we can make, and also like implement that and kind of finish all development work in the 12.9 and maybe have some extra work with rolling out, but do not move our development work into 12.10. That's kind of my intent on shortening the cycle and speeding the iteration here.
So when you say second track, you're talking about this issue right here, right?
I propose some idea there. I need to like have PMs discussing that with us to say whether this is a good idea or bad idea. Basically, this is what I'm really looking for. I'm certain it doesn't solve all possible problems, but I hope that at least it allows us to say with 13.0 we just stop supporting legacy format. This is my intent. If we can be affirmative of that goal and it's good enough solution, I would ask for us doing that if possible.
Okay. Well, I have to run. I am hosting a meeting in 1 minute. So if there's anything else, just add it as async follow-up here. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Right. Bye. Thanks.
Bye, guys.